What's up, YouTube peeps and barbecue freaks? Thank you guys for stopping by today. Today's video, we are going to do some charro beans. I love a good bean recipe, and I love me some charro beans, so that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you how I make it. Now, I'm picking up in this video. I wasn't originally going to shoot this video, so I didn't film the first part of it, but let me explain what I've done so far. So far, I've taken 2 pounds of pinto beans and I put them in a container and soaked them overnight. Just filled it up with water about 2 or 3 inches deep and let them sit overnight. Now you want to soak your beans ahead of time. What that's going to do is help your beans to cook faster. Do you absolutely have to do that? No. However, a 5-minute prep time is going to save you an hour or two on the cook time, so it's definitely worth it. I think the beans come out better that way anyway, so that's what I do. So again, I took 2 pounds of pinto beans, put them in a rubber container, and you can use any container you want, and just filled it up with water. I rinsed them all. Actually, before I put them in there, I rinsed them off with some water, put it in the container, and then filled it up with water, left it overnight. And in the morning, the next day, which is today, I dumped the water out, rinsed the beans off again, slightly, and then that's where I picked back up, where I put them in the pan and filled it up with water, which is what you're going to see next, which is where I picked up that. So that was the first part. You're going to see the rest of it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I absolutely love this recipe, and I think you will too. So anyway, let's get started. All right, so what I have here is it's just 2 pounds of beans, and just got it in a pot, and I'm filling it with some water. And you want to make sure you cover this. Just, I don't know if you'll be able to see the line, but like here's the water line. So it's covered by a good 1.5 to 2 inches of water. And I've got this on a medium heat, and we're just going to let this boil. It'll come up to boil. We're going to let it simmer for probably right at about an hour and a half. Hour, 15 minutes to hour and a half, and then now the water is going to evaporate, so when it does that, you want to make sure you continue to add some water. And I would add warm water instead of cold water, so that way it doesn't take time to have to come back up to temp. It'll come up to temp quicker. So again, it's on a medium heat, not adding any salt or anything to it. We'll just let this boil hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. Make sure it has plenty of water in it, and then I'll pick back up in just a bit once we get the other ingredients ready to go. All right, so while the beans are going, I'm going to show you the other ingredients we're going to use. I've got some bacon, some hot dogs, and some chorizo. I've got some cilantro, some tomatoes, garlic, a large jalapeno, and an onion. Now, I'm not going to use all of this. I will probably use half of this bundle. This large white onion, I'm only going to use half. And then we're gonna de-seed the jalapeno and add that in, and then we'll de-seed it, chop it up. Same thing with the tomatoes. We're gonna cut up probably about 4 or 5 strips of bacon here, and then we'll kind of cook all of this stuff together here while the beans are going. And once all this is done, we'll add the beans to this to finish it off. So let me get this prepped up, and I'll pick back up in just a second. I get everything chopped up. I've got my onion, jalapeno, tomatoes. I've got my hot dogs cut up, bacon, chorizo, and I'll chop that up at the end. And I'm going to go with this already minced garlic instead of chopping up some fresh ones. I'm going to save that for something else, but this will work just as fine. The beans are still cooking. They'll go for another 30, 45 minutes, and then once they get done, we'll get the rest of this cooked up. This will not take long at all, and then we'll add the beans to it and get it finished up. But this is what it looks like so far. That's where I'm at now. These beans have been going for about an hour and a half. You can see a lot of the water has evaporated. So they still need to go a little longer. So I'm just gonna add some more water, cover it back up. You wanna make sure you keep plenty of water in here. And at this point, this is where we're gonna add the salt. Let me grab some of this salt real quick. And we'll get some of that in here, and then we'll get it stirred up. And then just let this go for probably another 45 minutes, and they should be done. And at this point, we're going to move over to the other half of this recipe and start cooking the bacon and all that other good stuff. So that's it. Again, we'll let this sit for another about 45 minutes and they should be done. All right, so the beans are, they'll be done shortly. We're going to start on the rest of this. And another pot, I'm just going to take a little bit of oil. I know the bacon's going to make its own, but you still want to add a little bit in there. You can use manteca, whatever. I'm just going with some canola oil. I'm going to add that to the pot. All right, next we're going to add this bacon to the pot. Get that cooked. We're going to let this cook about halfway, and then we're going to add some onion to it. All right, this bacon is cooked a little bit less than halfway. It's going to continue to cook, but we're going to go ahead and add this onion to the pot. You want to saute that down as well. Let that saute down some. I am going to hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper, some salt, and some pepper. We're going to let these onions saute down for just a bit before we add the garlic. All right, this has been sauteing for a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and add some garlic. I'm just adding about a teaspoon full. And then we'll get that mixed in with the onion and bacon and let that saute down for a bit. All right, this has been sauteing. The bacon, the onion, and garlic have been sauteing for a few minutes. Next, we're going to add the hot dogs to this. And let that continue to cook down some. God, this smells so good. Oh my word. Anytime you can saute garlic and onion together, man, oh man. The beginning of something nice. So we're gonna let this cook down for a few minutes, and then we'll add the other ingredients. So while I have this sauteing down, I've got my beans right over here finishing up, and they're coming along nicely. Look at that. They probably got about another 15 or 20 minutes to go, and then they'll be done. And once they are, we'll take these and add them to all this goodness. Next, we're going to take that chorizo, add that in here, get that cooked down. And I'm going to go ahead and add the jalapeno to this as well. I'll grab that real quick. Like that, add that in here. And we're just going to let this saute again just for a few minutes before we add the tomatoes. And that should be done. One thing I wanted to point out really quickly is, if you notice, there isn't a ton of oil in this pan. And some of you might be wondering, like, why I added that oil at the beginning before I put the bacon. Even though the bacon is going to make its own, it doesn't make a ton of it. I mean, as you can see, there isn't a ton of oil in here. I mean, it's just not drowning in oil. So That's why at the beginning I add that bacon. I'm sorry, I add that oil because I know I'm going to need it. I mean, it's even though the bacon releases some, it's not going to release a ton, especially when you start mixing everything in. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that real quickly. All right, the last thing I'm going to add is those 2 tomatoes that I diced up. Normally, I would deseed the tomatoes. Most of the times, whenever I'm using tomatoes in a dish, almost always I deseed them. But for this dish, I did not. And that's because, you know, I can use a little bit extra, or I'm not worried about the extra liquid that the seeds provide. So I just went ahead and just chopped it up. So this is what this is looking like here. It smells so good. You can eat this stuff by itself. It's so good. So we're going to continue to let this saute down while the beans continue to cook. And then, like I said, we'll add them to this pot. Probably another 10-15 minutes. Hey guys, the veggies are done. The beans are done. So we're going to take these beans, got over here to the right, and we're just going to add them into this goodness here. Now, I'm doing it this way, adding the beans to this pot instead of adding all of this to the beans, which actually would be a whole lot easier. But what this does, doing it this way, allows me to control how much liquid is in that pan. So sometimes, let me see if I can show you real quick. If you can look over here, the beans still have a lot of liquid in there. So if I add all that in there, it's going to be really, really runny. So doing it this way allows me to control, you know, how much liquid goes into this pan here. So just get it all in here. Give it a good stir. Let it simmer for about 15 minutes, just to make sure all the seasoning and goodness can, you know, soak into those beans. And then they'll be ready to eat. So I've got the beans over. I'm probably gonna add a little bit more, a little more liquid, but at this point you can taste it and see if you need to add any salt and pepper, which I did. I actually added a little more salt, a little bit more pepper, and some garlic powder, and I'm also gonna add some ground comino or cumin. And there really aren't any measurements, you know, it's just a taste. You add some in, and if you think it needs a little more, then add it in. But there really aren't any measurements. And that is it. Like I said, we'll let it simmer for just about 10 minutes, 10 more minutes. And then they'll be ready to eat. All right, one thing I forgot to add was the cilantro at the end. Want to add this at the end to the pot, stir it in, and let it kind of simmer. So since I forgot to add this, the beans were done, but I'm gonna let this simmer again for probably another 5 or 10 minutes, just to kind of let that cilantro you know, melt in here and incorporate with all this other goodness. But that is it. Again, another, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll give it a taste. Ready, guys? I got the beans. Let's look, right in here. Right, got some beans right here. You can see that? Yum. Oh, it smells so good. We're gonna give them a taste. I gotta be honest, I already tasted them while they were just about done cooking, and it tastes damn good. But we're gonna give it a taste on camera. So I got some beans here. Give it a taste. They're still hot. The only thing missing, cornbread. Cornbread or rice or fidel. Either one of those three will go perfect with these charro beans. But even without those three things, these are damn good on their own. I've got a bowl of them. gonna sit down, finish watching some football, eat my beans. These are really good. Anyway, that is my recipe for Charro Beans, and I'm telling you, they're good. They really, really are. If you're looking for a recipe, I highly suggest trying this one. They're excellent. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time. Again, give me a thumbs up and click on that notification if you haven't already. The little Weber Smoky Mountain, down there. I would truly, truly appreciate it. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by for watching. I will see you guys next time. Take care.